The Prophet of Darkness.
Welcome back to the Prophet of Thought series right here on Nubia Hood Radio, the sound of consciousness. I'm your host, X. Tonight, we got a real good show for y'all tonight. I know if y'all people that have been paying attention to the internet in the days of late, you see that there's a lot of chatter and talk about, black women and, the nonsense that they do. That's not really my side of the block. I let other brothers work their side of the block. We are going to be talking about sisters tonight, but we're going to be talking about sisters in a serious manner because what we're talking about is a serious thing. Tonight, y'all, we're going to be talking about sisters that have been slain by cops. I don't know if y'all have heard, but not too long ago, the most recent one, Miss India Kager, she was killed at a 7-Eleven by Virginia Beach SWAT team, and she was totally innocent. She was a Navy veteran. She was in a car with her 4-month-old child, and she was brutally shot down and murdered. And I'm thinking that I'm going to have her mother. If y'all been online, y'all know her mother's been all over the place. She's been back and forth, in to the Department of Justice and everywhere else, trying to get her daughter's case resolved and everything else. I'm pretty sure y'all have, seen it or heard about it on Facebook and Twitter. I'm hoping that she's going to call in tonight. Don't hold me to that because I have been speaking with her back and forth on Twitter, in the Twitter sphere, but I haven't heard from her today. So I don't know if she's going to be calling in tonight or not. We're going to hold on for that. But we're going to talk about this tonight, y'all, because there's a lot of sisters that have been killed by the cops. I know you often hear of the brothers who have been murdered by the police, but tonight, when we get this show done tonight, you're going to realize that it's not just the brothers, that it's all of us. It's not just a cop and the brother thing. It's the cops and the sisters too. So it's the cops and the black people thing. And at the end of these 2 hours tonight, you're going to have a different perspective on this. And y'all going to realize that we need to come together on this. We need to talk about this, and we need to do something about it. You're listening to the Popular Thought series on Nubia Hood Radio, the sound of consciousness. Let's go. So, before we get started, y'all know we always got to start this. We got to start off with stop complaining. I pulled up something today, and it's about global poverty, and I want to read y'all some facts and figures. Nearly 1/2 of the world's population, that's more than 3 billion people, live on less than $2.50 a day. More than 1.3 billion live in extreme poverty, less than $1.25 a day. 1 billion children worldwide are living in poverty. Okay? 22,000 children die each day due to this poverty. 805 million people worldwide do not have enough to eat. Food banks are especially important in providing food for these people that can't afford it themselves, but the food banks aren't what they're supposed to be. 750 million people lack adequate access to clean drinking water. Diarrhea caused by inadequate drinking water, sanitation, and hand hygiene kills an estimated 842,000 people every single year. That's 2,300 people a day, y'all. In 2012, 165 million children that were under the age of 5, they had stunted growth, stunted development, stunted mental development due to just plain old chronic malnutrition. Also, preventable diseases like diarrhea, pneumonia, dehydration, stomach problems, affects and kills 2 million children a year just because they are too poor to afford proper medical treatment. As of 2014, 21 million children under the age of 1 worldwide had not received the 3 recommended doses of vaccine against diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, which is, these are things that we would just get shots for normally. 25% of all humans, 25% of all humans in the world live without electricity. That's approximately 1.6 billion people who just don't have electricity, don't know what it is, never had it. 1.6 billion people, y'all. 80% of the world lives on less than $10 a day. That's a dime bag, y'all. You got people living on less than that a day. It would take $60 billion annually to end global poverty. And you know that $60 billion, it sounds like a lot of money, right? But that's less than a quarter of the income of the top 100 richest people in the world. Think on that one. Now, the poor are hungry, and their hunger traps them in poverty. Hunger, believe it or not, is the number 1 cause of death in the world. It kills more people than AIDS, kills more people than cancer, kills more people than malaria, and it kills more people than tuberculosis. All of those diseases combined. So, while you sitting at your house talking about how you ain't got a PlayStation, or you ain't got Jordans, or you don't have a car, or a big screen TV, there are 1.6 billion people who will probably be dead by the end of the year simply because they don't have food or water. Think about that. And you know what else your ass need to do? Stop complaining. Anyway, now tonight I want to talk about this. We're going to start off because y'all all know about Sandra Bland, right? Sandra Bland was like, I don't want to say poster girl for police brutality, but she became a symbol of police brutality, I guess, because her case got so much coverage and so much press, and it was all over social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything else. Those of you who don't know who Sandra Bland is, I guess y'all was living under a rock or something. She was pulled over in Texas. She was on her way to a job, and she got pulled over for switching lanes. She ended up getting arrested, and when she got arrested, they took her into the local city or county jail, and 3 days later she was dead. They claim that she killed herself. I don't necessarily believe that. To this day, no one kind of knows. They still holding on to the story. They still sticking with the story that she killed herself. The only bit of good news that has been coming from that case, as far as late as yesterday, the trooper who pulled her over, Officer Trooper Brian Encina, he was indicted by a grand jury. They found out that he had lied about his initial reason for pulling Bland out the car. He hasn't been arraigned as of the time that I pulled this story up, but I'm sure that's happened by now. He has been indicted. He has said in the report that he pulled Sandra Bland from the car to continue the investigation, which was a damn lie. But dash cam shows the video. He pulled her out from the car after she denied his request to put out a cigarette. And that's crazy because, like I've always said, people thought that, you know, having these cops on video was going to change something. I mean, they so damn complicit that they'll tell a bold-faced lie even though they know they're getting taped. They know they're getting taped and they still lie like hell. The public safety spokesperson said that there's no timetable on when Encina will be formally let go, but that decision is now in the hands of the director. I do believe he's been fired as of now. I do believe he's fired. Meanwhile, U.S. District Judge David Hittner has ordered that Waller County in the state of Texas show Bland's lawyers the original videos from her time in jail and from the investigation of her death, according to a report from the Texas Tribune. So hopefully we'll get something going on with the Sandra Bland case. I mean, Sandra Bland, like I said, she became the rallying cry, you know, hashtag say her name, you know. So that's a story that I'm sure a lot of y'all out there know about. Y'all have heard about her. You know, there's not too many people walking this planet that don't know who Sandra Bland is. Even if they're not familiar with the specifics of the case, they kind of know who she is. So her mother has since filed a lawsuit, okay, claiming wrongful death. You know, I'm pretty sure she's gonna get some money out of that, but you know that's not gonna bring Sandra Bland back. You know, they always end up paying some money, but you know, money doesn't bring the person back, and money doesn't solve the problem. But tonight we're gonna talk about some others too, because we're gonna talk about some people that y'all probably don't know about. Okay. As it stands right now, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at file after file after file after file after file, and I'm going to say their names. Hashtag say her name. I'm going to say their names tonight because people haven't been saying their names. I'm going to say their names tonight. We're going to start off, of course, with India Kager, also killed by the police. Betty Jones, okay, also killed by the police. Natasha McKenna, also killed by the police. Tanisha Anderson, also killed by the police. Yvette Smith, also killed by the police. Miriam Carey, also killed by the police. Shelley Frey, also killed by the police. Darnisha Harris, also killed by the police. Melissa Williams, also killed by the police. Alicia Thomas, also killed by the police. Chantel Davis, also killed by the police. Rakia Boyd, also killed by the police. Sharice Francis, also killed by the police. Ayanna Stanley Jones. And by the way, Ayanna Stanley Jones, y'all, she was only 7 years old. Also killed by the police. Tarika Wilson, also killed by the police. Katherine Johnston, also killed by the police. Alberta Spruill. And by the way, y'all, I forgot to mention, Katherine Johnston, when she was killed, she was 92. Also killed by the police, Kendra James. And I'd be remiss not to mention this one here, Janisha Fonville, because she was killed right here about 15 minutes from where we broadcast from. Also killed by the police. Also killed by the police, Megan Hockaday. Now, I know some of those names y'all probably know, and some of them I'm sure y'all don't know. But we're going to break every single one of these cases down. We're going to talk about their cases, and we're going to talk about them in depth. Every single one of those women we're going to talk about. Now, I'm going to hold off on India Kager just in case Gina Best decide to call in. If she doesn't call in, close to the end of the show, I'll go ahead and give y'all the specifics of her story, because her mom might be calling in. So I would rather have her tell the story. So we're going to hold off on India Kager for a while. All right, y'all? So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the last one I've read. Okay? Now, Betty Jones. She lived in Chicago. She was a mother of 5 and a grandmother of 10. She was fatally shot by police officers who were responding to a domestic disturbance at her apartment building. Okay? Now, the police say that she was accidentally shot. They've released few details of the shooting, of course. Okay? Of course. The shooting happened about 4:30 in the morning. They responded to a domestic disturbance on the 4700 block of West Erie Street, and when they got there, they were confronted by a combative subject, or so they say, resulting in the discharging of the officer's weapon, fatally wounding 2 people. It's still under investigation, of course, but supposedly they went there to, like I said, they went there to answer some domestic violence call, and they said that Miss Jones was shot after she opened the door to her apartment. Now, mind you, she didn't have anything to do with what was going on with the whole, police situation. She opened her door and she was shot. Okay, she didn't have anything to do with why the police were there. None of that. Okay, none of that. She had nothing. She had nothing to do with nothing. But she's dead. Okay, she's dead. They were there because a brother named Quintonio Legrier. They were there for him. Now, the cops claim that he lunged at them and he had a bat in his hand. Sound familiar? And the cops say that he lunged at them, so they shot. And Miss Jones, she was just a victim of circumstance. She was a victim of circumstance. She ended up getting hit, and she didn't have nothing to do with nothing. And the crazy thing is, there's another caveat to this story, and I guess that's why I started with this story, because this story is like kind of stupid from the cop standpoint. The cop who shot them has filed a $15 million lawsuit against the families because he claimed that they were obstructing him from his job. So, you know what he's doing, right, y'all? He's trying to get out in front of it. He's trying to get out in front of it. He has filed a $15 million lawsuit saying something was done to him. Now, mind you, he got a man murdered 2 people. But he's filing a lawsuit for $15 million. That tells you the state of law enforcement, especially in, like, Chicago, the most corrupt city on the planet. Let us be clear. All right? Now, we're going to talk about Natasha McKenna. You might have heard her name, okay? You might have heard it once or twice last year. She's one of the many who have been killed by police, of course. Now, but you need to hear her story, because Natasha McKenna, she was a 37-year-old mother, and nothing has been done to make sure that this kind of nonsense happen again. No surprise there. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and initially they had called 911 to report an assault. Okay. Now, while she was being examined in a hospital, she was taken to Fairfax County Jail because they claimed she had assaulted an officer weeks before. Now, while she was in this mental health crisis and stripped butt naked, she was forced out of her cell, okay, inside the county adult detention center in order to be transferred to nearby Alexandria. She was tasered 4 times while being restrained by the corrections officers and then shackled to a chair. Now, unable to withstand the 50,000 volts that was applied to her repeatedly, she died of cardiac arrest. Okay. Now, later on, the state attorney general attempted to use Natasha McKenna's mental health against her. He claimed that she was combative and displayed superhuman strength. Where have you heard that before? She displayed superhuman strength, he said. He listed her cause of death as excited delirium, just so no charges would be filed against the 6 idiots that restrained her and killed her. Now, not even when a video showing that she presented no threat to the officers was made public, they still carried on with the story. Of course. Now, tasers, tasers, y'all, thought to be the kinder alternative to deadly force. They are tragically misunderstood even by the people who use them. Amnesty International found that from 2001 to 2015, at least 670 people have died after being struck by these tasers. Okay? And a 2008 report found that 90% of the victims that died due to weapons like tasers, like Natasha, were unarmed. Okay? The American Heart Association has also presented scientific evidence concluding that tasers can in fact cause cardiac arrest and death. Okay? Now, people with a history of mental illness, they're usually the ones who are more likely to be stunned with these tasers and to be stunned repeatedly. Okay? Repeatedly. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And nothing's been done. And the cops are still lying about it, of course, as they usually do, Now, what kind of damn reason is that for somebody's death? Excited delirium. Got to be kidding me. Excited delirium. Natasha McKenna. She's dead because of, excited delirium, according to the police. Next case. Our next case is Tanisha Anderson. Now, Tanisha Anderson, her death was ruled a homicide. It was ruled a homicide. She was killed November 13, 2014 in Cleveland. She was 37 years old. Okay? She's 37 years old. And the police killed her because of, they say that because the family has filed a wrongful death suit, that, they don't want to, muddy up the process. They don't want to muddy up the process. Now, the Department of Justice concluded that the Cleveland police have a pattern of using excessive force. No damn kidding. Okay? So her case is still under investigation, and no one really knows what the hell happened in her case. All they know is that she's dead. Okay? She's dead, and no one knows why she's dead, and the police ain't giving up no kind of information. No surprise there. Right? No surprise whatsoever. Then there is Yvette Smith. Now, this was a case that I hadn't even heard about. Yvette Smith, she was killed February 16, 2014. She was 47 years old, and she was from Bastrop, Texas. the Bastrop County Sheriff Deputy Daniel Willis, he responded to a 911 call about a fight between several men at a residence. Now, at that scene, the authorities say Willis ordered Smith to come out of the house, then shot her twice when she stepped through the doorway. Now, an original statement that claimed Smith was armed was retracted by the police officials. I guess, they figured out that, people know that their asses was lying. Now, he was fired, and his previous record was questioned. An evaluation from a past employer stated that he needed more development in handling explosive situations and the utilization of common sense. Now, let me read that to y'all again. An evaluation from a past employer stated he needed more development in handling explosive situations and the utilization of common sense. Why is this man the police? Why would they hire him after reading that? Give him a gun after that? I'm not even the police department, but it could be somebody in my family. And if their job tell me, well, your son, man, he needs more development in handling explosive situations and the utilization of common sense, I wouldn't give him a damn gun. Now, he was indicted by the grand jury for murder. Her family filed a wrongful death suit. Okay. Just crazy, man. Just crazy. I didn't even know about her case. I just found it out when I was doing the research. And luckily, the cop has been indicted. He's been fired from the force. A force that his ass should have never been on in the first place. And hopefully he'll do some time. Maybe, maybe not. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Then there's Miriam Carey. She died October 3rd, 2013 in Washington, D.C. This one y'all might have heard of. She was 34. She was shot by U.S. Secret Service and Capitol Police in Washington. She was in a car chase after she drove her car into a security checkpoint near the White House. They said she was refusing orders to stop, fired multiple shots at Carey, who happened to be a dental hygienist from Connecticut, and they hit her 5 times. And her 1-year-old daughter was in the car. Now, luckily, the kid wasn't killed, too. An autopsy found Carey was not under the influence of any drugs or alcohol or weed or anything. She didn't have no weapons in the car, and she had been previously diagnosed with postpartum depression and psychosis. Like that justifies her being murdered by the police. Federal prosecutors said in July that they would not be filing charges against the officers. No surprise there. And, of course, her family's filing a wrongful death suit. I don't know, man. I just think that as far as, one thing I can say about Secret Service and people like that, FBI, you haven't heard about them killing people. This is the only person that they've killed lately. Okay, this is the only. Thankfully, this is the only person that they've killed lately. It's usually the local cops, and state troopers and county cops and town cops who do the killing of people. Next case, Shelley Frey. She was killed December 6, 2012. She was 27, and she got killed in Houston, Texas. Texas is you're gonna hear me talk about Texas a lot because they are notorious. She was killed after she and 2 other women were allegedly caught stealing from a Walmart. An off-duty sheriff's deputy working as a security guard tried to detain them, then shot into a car, which Frey was a passenger. She was struck twice in the neck. The officer, a Mr. Lewis Campbell, reportedly told investigators that he opened fire after the driver of the car tried to run him over. That's another thing I'm tired of hearing. I'm tired of hearing about these damn cops talking about somebody tried to run them over. I'm so tired of hearing that. Anyway, he opened fire on the car after, he says they try to run him over with the car. He said the other women and the 2 children that were in the car with Frey, they continued to drive away before stopping, and paramedics called to the scene. They were unable to revive her. They said that Frey had previously pleaded guilty to stealing shirts and meat from Walmart before. So her family sued Walmart for wrongful death, and of course the cop does not get indicted on this one. Then there's Denisha Harris. Now, Denisha Harris was only 16. She was killed December 2nd, 2012 in Louisiana. And they say that Denisha Harris, police officer Travis Gillett, fired 2 shots into the car she was driving. Officer Gillett and 2 other officers were responding to a 911 call about an outdoor fight. According to the Advocate of Baton Rouge, they saw Harris driving erratically, hitting parked cars and a bystander before Officer Gillett opened fire. Now, they say that Miss Harris was on probation for battery on a police officer and violating a court order curfew when she died. They said that Officer Gillett was previously accused of misconduct while working at 3 different law enforcement agencies. Here we go again. Another cop who done been fired for doing crazy mess somewhere else has a job as a cop. I mean, come on. Why is it that these damn cops can go from force to force to force? They're worse than the damn priests that rape kids. Instead of throwing them totally out the priesthood, what they do is just send them to another church. They're doing the same thing with the police. The police can kill folks, beat folks, cost the city millions of dollars, and no one ever reports it. You know what he does? He just goes somewhere else to another state and becomes a cop. That's something else that needs to stop, y'all. Okay? If a damn cop is doing stuff, if he's an abusive cop, he's been accused of excessive force, if he's been fired because he wasn't doing his job the right way, God damn it, it needs to be some type of database that lists this to keep this damn fool from working at another police department. Why the hell is he working at another police department when he done been fired 3 times from 3 other police departments for doing the same shit? And guess what? Guess what else didn't happen to him? His ass didn't get indicted neither. Of course. Next case. Melissa Williams. Now, Melissa Williams, y'all probably heard about her. She was killed in Cleveland. She was in a car chase with Timothy Russell. And the police officer thought he heard shots coming from the vehicle. Y'all might have seen this one on social media or seen this on TV. They had like a 25-minute chase through Cleveland, and they had a string of cop cars following them. And this was the case where they shot 137 damn rounds into the car at these people. Okay? 137 damn rounds. The cop even jumped on the damn hood of the car and started firing in there. Okay? She was shot 23 damn times. 23 times they shot this girl. You don't need 23 bullets would stop a damn grizzly bear. 23 times they shot this woman. Okay? Now, of course, they got to throw in the fact that, oh, she had a criminal record. I don't give a damn. I don't care if she had just murdered some damn body. She shouldn't have been shot 24 damn times. I don't give a damn. But 6 officers were indicted in the car chase. The cop who jumped on the hood and shot her, he was charged with manslaughter. And 5 supervisors were charged with dereliction of duty. Officer Brelo, who shot 49 shots into the car. Okay? 15 of them he shot from atop of the hood. Okay? Okay? Now, his ass was definitely indicted. They ended up settling. Of course, the city settled with her family for $3 million. It was one of the worst examples of police misconduct in American history. Okay? 29 damn shots. Next case. Alicia Thomas. Alicia Thomas died July 22nd, 2012. She was 35, from L.A. Miss Thomas was arrested at her house on a suspicion of child endangerment after they claimed she left her children at a police station because she couldn't care for them. A struggle with Los Angeles police officer Mary O'Callahan ensued, her and several other officers, while putting a handcuffed Thomas into a squad car. Prosecutors said O'Callahan threatened to kick Thomas in the genitals and then did so 7 times, hitting her in the groin, abdomen, and thigh. Thomas died shortly after at a hospital. An autopsy found that she had cocaine in her system. The cause of death was listed as undetermined. Now, O'Callahan, she was charged. Okay? She was charged in Thomas's death, and she's awaiting trial. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but at least the cop was charged. And this was a lady cop who did this. It's usually the dudes. This was a lady cop. So, now it's just that we went from it being white cops to black cops, which were all men. Now we even got the damn female cops. They done joined the bandwagon too. We got a call on the line. You're on the air with the Popular Thought series. Hello? You there?
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, this is Jerroll Sanders.
Hello. How are you?
Yes. Can you? I'm fine. Thank you. I was calling in to join Gina Beth.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if Miss Beth is calling in or not. Her and I have been talking back and forth on Twitter. That's why I was telling everybody that I'm not sure if she's going to call in or not. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything from her today.
Okay, well, she shared your information with me, and she has had a very difficult day. I am president of Onus Inc., and we have actually written national legislation to strip law enforcement of unbridled power. And we were in Virginia Beach this weekend demanding to see video and talking with community leaders there about what occurred with India Kager and Angelo Perry. So, again, Ms. Beth shared this with me and asked me to join her on this call tonight.
Oh, okay. I've been just running down, the many of our sisters that have been brutally murdered by police. I held off on talking about Miss Kager because I wasn't sure if Mrs. Best was going to call in tonight, so I haven't mentioned her. I mentioned her name at the top of the hour, but I didn't elaborate on her story at all. I was going to let her mother do that if she decided to call in. But if you are familiar with the case, you're more than welcome to explain it to our audience if you want to. You have the floor.
Sure. I met Gina Best back in October. As I said, our organization, which is Onus Inc., our URL is changeisonus.org, has drafted comprehensive national legislation that is being applauded by several individuals who are in policing, organizations across the country such as Blacks in Government, etc., has endorsed the legislation. But at any rate, she happened to be on one of our national conference calls and began to share the story of India, about India. And for your listening audience, I've become very familiar with what occurred and have worked with Ms. Best in many ways to help amplify what occurred, too, with respect to India. Basically, India had a child with a gentleman named Angelo Perry. They were not together as a couple, but India lived in Maryland, and Angelo Perry lived in Virginia Beach. And India had driven to Virginia Beach with Angelo Perry to apparently show the baby off to Perry's family members. Now, we've subsequently learned that Virginia Beach police claim or allege that they were told that Angelo Perry listen to this, was going to commit a crime later that day. So they began tracking Angelo Perry via cell phone towers as he and India traveled in India's car back to Virginia Beach, again, with the intent of showing people the baby. Well, they had been in Virginia Beach for about 3 hours, and about, 2.5 hours from the time they had reached Virginia Beach, the Virginia Beach Police Department began surveilling them. This is according to Virginia Beach Police. They surveilled them for about a half hour, and India Kager and Angelo Perry were on the 7-Eleven parking lot right under a video camera when they were approached by two unmarked vehicles blocked the car in. Now, this was a fully geared SWAT team who tossed a couple of flashbang grenades next to the car and unleashed over 30 shots. Now, Virginia Beach police are claiming that Angelo Perry, after they blocked his India's car, this was not his car, this was India's car, after they blocked the car in, Virginia Beach police are alleging that Angelo fired shots. Well, we are really questioning that because a flashbang grenade is a disorienting device. And generally, if you toss a flashbang grenade, it causes such disorientation until individuals have to wait to gather their faculties to it can even cause a person to not even for a few minutes or seconds to really realize even where you are. So we highly doubt that Angelo fired at the Virginia Beach police. But here's the deal. There was no outstanding warrant on either Kager or Angelo at the time. And the Virginia Beach police has acknowledged repeatedly that India was never a person of interest. At the time, their 4-month-old baby was sitting in the back of the car when law enforcement unleashed, like I said, a barrage of shots. They say 30. We've heard from Angelo's family that he probably had 30, more than 30 bullets. strike his body. And so we've been asking Virginia Beach Police and demanding that they show the video. And so far, while we were in Virginia Beach, Gina, Best, and I, we met with the what would be called the Commonwealth, a representative from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, which was the Deputy Commonwealth Attorney, and he indicated that that they would be sharing or concluding the investigation within a month from the date of our visit. Now, the interesting thing is that we have said their claim is that they need to enhance the video. Well, we know that the video was taken from a state-of-the-art camera, and in fact, immediately following the shooting, law enforcement agents in Virginia Beach retrieved the camera itself. They took the camera and the video footage and have refused to show Gina the footing, name the officers who were a part of the SWAT team, or provide any effects from India, Kager. And her mother, Gina Best, is just daily, just enduring heart-wrenching pain. Gina has now joined the call. So
Yes,
I will
I know. I see her. I see her on the board. Miss Best, are you there? Miss Best, did we lose Miss Best?
Yes, good evening. I'm here.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Jerroll.
Hello, ma'am.
As my beloved sister, Jerroll, who has helped me through this, and good evening to you, sir.
I don't want to ask how are you because I can't imagine how you are. But you have the floor, ma'am. You have the floor. Whatever you want to tell us, we want to hear it.
Was, well, I would like, well, first of all, to acknowledge Jerroll Sanders, because she has been with me on this journey, step by step, as I'm fighting. And I've had every day, as she stated, is extremely, it's beyond words. The grief is unbearable, and it's unfathomable. And I also want to thank you, sir, for just giving me the platform and the audience, because there's much yet to be said. So I'm still gathering. I would like Jerroll just to finish where she kicked off, and then I'm going to come back in.
Okay.
Again, I'm Jerroll, can you please just continue doing a fine job explaining where we are,
Sure.
and then I'll yes.
Sure. I was simply saying that Virginia Beach has refused to name the officers who were involved. A legislature in the Commonwealth at the state level has actually introduced legislation that would prevent agencies from listing the names of officers who are involved in use of force events, and that has pretty much emanated from the shooting involving India and Angelo Perry. We did visit a number of people worked on Gina's behalf and with Gina to hold a weekend of truth-seeking, which was the 19th and the 20th of February. People journeyed to Virginia Beach, and upon arrival, found that the area was simply littered with law enforcement agents. There were unmarked cars around the church. There was such strong police presence that many people who had planned to attend the event elected to not attend. Even when we entered the edifice, the officers were actually inside of the church. We left there after sharing information and conducting press interviews. We left there and journeyed to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. Ms. Beth was asked to remove her button that contained her daughter's name and earrings, and again, the police presence was just excessive. When we arrived into the Commonwealth Attorney's office, there were 2 officers sitting there, planted in 2 seats, again, to, as another display of excessive presence. After we were told again that there was this voluminous report that would be issued, and we, of course, emphasized that there were 2 questions. We didn't basically care how thick the report was, and those questions that had to be answered as part of the investigation, basically we needed to see the video because we needed to know who, why, and how that vehicle, why it was blocked in such an aggressive manner, and what transpired with respect to the shot. And so they agreed that those were really the cogent questions, and then again seemed to have no answers. Refused to provide. We said, well, can we see the video? They said it has to be enhanced. We said, can we see it as it is? They, of course, declined. We left there, went to the law to visit with the police chief. Again, excessive. Everywhere we went, there was excessive police presence. And we received no answers once again, even from the police chief. No answers, no explanation for why India's lied, why they never sought to wait. We asked that question. Couldn't you, even if you had concerns about Angelo, why couldn't you wait until India and Angelo separated? And we contend, even if Angelo Harry, which had been suspected of any kind of wrongdoing, we believe he still deserved due process of law.
Absolutely.
And did not deserve to be gunned down as he was, nor did India.
Absolutely.
Now, the police are saying, not that I believe anything that comes out of police mouth at this point, but the police are saying that the reason why they haven't turned the video over is because they're waiting for it to be enhanced. And not only that, they claim they were surveilling them for a half an hour, correct?
That's exactly.
So if they were under surveillance for 30 minutes, how did they not know? Okay, number one, there was a child in the car. And number two, how could they not know that, engaging with this man with a SWAT team? Now, you said this was a SWAT team. This was Special Weapons and Tactics, right? Wasn't just regular cops. It was a SWAT team. Now, if you're going to engage a suspect, okay, I'll be the devil's advocate for a minute here. You're going to engage this suspect for whatever reason, and you claim you had these people under surveillance. You didn't know that child was in the car, and you didn't know that it was an innocent woman in the car as well that had nothing to do with anything, and all your special trainings and tactics didn't kick in and make these cops realize that they should have went about this another way. I mean, the whole thing just sounds so totally outrageous and ridiculous to me. But these stories always do. I haven't heard one that has made sense. Not one. And the stalling, the stalwarting, the lies, the deception, the deceit that always follows. And whenever you try to organize something or do something or have a memorial, the police are just everywhere. It's like I don't know. You would think that after they've murdered someone, the last thing they would want to be is seen somewhere where people are collecting to give tribute or honor someone. It would just appear that the last thing that they would want to do is be on scene en masse. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
There's so many things about this that none of it adds up. And I'm able to speak now because I've just that's why I'm so grateful to Jerroll, because she could just tell. But everything they did, they showed their aggression. Think about this. We're there in Virginia Beach, fact-finding, to try to find out more, to get some answers. And they were aggressive even in their presence. So suffice that the people, the residents who live there, imagine what type of intimidation that they live on and they dwell in on a daily basis. My daughter, India, resided in Maryland. She moved here. She was stationed in the Navy in Oceana, but October of 2014 had not been in Virginia Beach, and she and Mr. Perry were not with a regular, I guess, established relationship in that, but they did parent the child together, my little baby Roman. And he, having been incarcerated, wanted to be a father to the baby, had not met Roman until a week before they were gunned down. You hear that? My daughter's life was stolen, and she was gunned down. Mr. Perry was gunned down in front of their little boy. Now, to claim it, to echo what you just said, special weapons and tactics. The tactics that were used, there is a clear line of demarcation. What happened prior to the parking lot when my daughter parked her car, because I should also state once again, there was no traffic stop made. There was no probable cause to stop the car. It was licensed in her name, and they stated in a press conference that they saw my daughter operating her vehicle. So clearly, one would think that special weapons and tactics team, they would know all occupants of the vehicle. Well, I firmly believe that. They confirmed all the occupants because they stated that they visually identified Mr. Perry and that they saw my daughter operating her car. My daughter's windows were not tinted. So the trucks, the unmarked vehicles that they were surveilling them in, and I have to say that for 30 minutes, remember, anything that's out there right now, and what I am reiterating and repeating, has come from the police department, the Virginia Beach Police Department themselves. Jim Silvera, the chief of police himself. I am connecting the dots so that the public understands that the story that they had put out, they've controlled the narrative. And the narrative is decidedly riddled with gaps in logic. My daughter's windows were not tinted, so do understand that if they're following them, they were, an unmarked van, a white panel van, and there was a blue SUV that ambushed and blocked India's car. 30 minutes. They had to have followed them from a structure. I am fully aware. India and Angelo were visiting. He has family there, and they were introducing the baby to family members and friends. So at some point, they were picked up from a structure. The 30 minutes, I'm not buying it. I firmly believe that it was longer than 30 minutes. The question that several questions the Virginia Beach Police need to address is why the tactic they used against India, my daughter, fully aware that she was not under investigation, she was not the focal point of investigation, and when they recognized she was operating her vehicle, why was no decision made to protect her life? What was their mentality at that moment?
Exactly.
What was their mentality at that moment? How did they view this beautiful, lovely woman of color? And I believe that the listening audience can draw these conclusions because, as you stated, it's every day. But we're not talking about in other instances where we've heard the police responded on a scene, 911 call was made. They had to make a decision at that very moment. That was a uniformed team. This was hot. So they had ample time to de-escalate, assess the situation, and make a prudent, life-saving decision for India to protect her her human rights. Protect her. She's an innocent. And they are sworn to do so. Their failure to do so speaks to a larger issue. Why?
Yeah,
what was their mentality?
Especially when you're talking about SWAT team, these are supposed to be the best of the cops. These are supposed to be, the cops who know more than the other cops. So absolutely.
Absolutely.
If you got these guys doing it, I mean, it's just, well, it speaks to a bigger matter, because when someone can be killed when they have absolutely positively no reason to be killed, and then to stalwart the family after this person has been brutally murdered is just unconscionable. It's horrible. It is just outrageous. It is just unbelievable. I'm going to need you, Miss Bess. I'm gonna need you to hold on for a little bit. We got to go on to a little commercial break. I'm gonna give everybody the number so you can call in. You're listening to the Proper Thought series here on Nubia Hood Radio. I got Miss Gina Best on the line. The phone number is 712-775-7031. Access code 840981. We're going to take a little commercial break, y'all. We'll be back in a few minutes with Miss Bess. Miss Bess, when you come back, I want you to tell us a little bit about India, okay? When we come back from commercial break, so people can.
Yes, and Miss Jerroll Sanders with me as well.
Oh yes, and Miss Jerroll Sanders is still on the line as well. So when we come back from commercial break, tell us a little something about India. Who she was, what her life was about. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be back from break in a few, y'all. Be right back. You're listening to the Proper Thought series on Nubia Hood Radio, the sound of consciousness. Hey, this is X from the Proper Thought series, and I want to open your mind to a company called Candy Cane Hair, spelled Kandikane, because I know you ladies are tired of paying these ridiculous prices for those bundles. Candy Cane Hair has those discount prices on all of the styles you love to rock, whether you like the straight, the loose wave, the body wave, the deep wave, the curly, you need a closure, and yeah, we have the blonde too. Buy those bundles risk-free. We will even exchange it in 30 days, even if you have worn it, dyed it, or flat ironed it. And guess what? If you get it and you don't like what you see, send us that unopened package and we will give you your money back. But we know you don't want to do that. Candy Cane Hair is backed by Maven, so you are guaranteed to love this hair and guaranteed to love the way it looks on you. So look, you want that hair tight, right? You want to save some coin, right? So pick up the phone and call 980-585-2520. That's 980-585-2520. Or go to candycanehair.maven.com, and it's KANDIKANE at maven.com. Check out the styles and prices so you can order your fresh look today. And make sure you check for us at Candy Cane Hair at Facebook. Now that's spelled KANDIKANE. Don't forget, go order those bundles today. CandyCaneHair.maven.com. Making you look magnificent. Tell them X sent you.
A community is where you control your police, you control your commerce, you control your education, you control your house. We don't control none of that. We live in a hood. Huh? Well, what about the Negroes that get out? Oh, well, say, my cousin, they say he's a multi-millionaire, almost got $1 billion. 3 PhDs, working on 2 more. Driving down the street in Chicago in his Rolls Royce, enjoying himself, and he hear these sirens and look through the mirror and see this cop car flashing lights. He squeezed the steering wheel, man. Heart beats fast. Because he knows the price of a Negro, what it could be. And then when that cop car passed him by, he said, thank God he wasn't after you in the first place, punk. that Negro thing you can't get away from. It's universal. They wasn't coming after you with all your millions, with your Rolls Royce, with your PhD, didn't help. That's the hood. Why do you think you never pick up the paper until you read over and over and see white families cry? You think of the thousands of black cops in America. Why don't you see white families crying as black cops shot my loved one 40 times in the back of the head? Why do you think black cops don't do that? You think they're more spiritual? You think they're better dressed? No! They got enough sense to know that white folks ain't gonna tolerate it. And I will stop in our neighborhood when we decide we will not tolerate it. Now, if we was organized, which is hard to organize people who are just gonna run crazy and you don't know you're crazy. But if we were, with the money we have, and the many people who would come to our aid that don't know what it's like to be a Negro, and we said, if we said, look, we saying, if we don't get a federal law to deal with police brutality, that any time a cop or anybody carry a gun, have to have a license just like you do to drive a car. And if you use it wrongly, you'll lose your license. And if it's upheld, you can never work again as a cop or a store guard or a private detective. How do you get Congress to push that through? Well, you take your economic power and you call on your friends, black, white, young, and old, and say, this coming Christmas, if we don't have a federal law to outlaw police brutality by law, then we call them for a nationwide boycott of Christmas and it'll start on Thanksgiving. Well, let me tell you what that is. 79% of all retail in America happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas. People stay in business all year, lose money just for Christmas, huh? Well, what happens now? South Fifth Avenue, Toys R Us, Sears and Roebuck, Westinghouse. They will get the bill, and all they got to do is make one phone call and say, Harry, that's the senator, I want that bill pushed through in 3 days. Okay, it's an economic thing. It's that simple. But we have the power, but the system has wiped us out so bad.
Santana, Lincoln 6. Go ahead. We have a suspect down, 10-4. That's 10-4. The officer's code 4. We have one suspect that's been shot.
You're listening to
music that'll make you think.
Nubia Hood Radio.
Call in, opine. If you got questions, comments, you got something you want to say, you got a question you want to ask of me, maybe you have questions for Miss Bess or Miss Sanders, call in. We're taking calls. The phone lines are up. Miss Bess?
Yeah.
Hello? Yes. Before we went to commercial break, I was saying that, maybe you want to tell us a little something about India, what her life was about, who she was as a person.
Yes. India embodied, and she embodied all things beautiful, and I'm going to use the word unadulterated. And what I mean by that is my daughter, in terms of her temperament, and I'm going to try to keep this together, okay, because she was very soft-spoken, very gentle, introspective. India played 5 instruments. She was a self-taught musician. She played 5 instruments and wrote poetry. She was also a graphic artist in that she attended the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C. You have to audition to get into that school, and she was gifted. I've always called her an artistic genius, and from the age of 3, from the moment she could pick up a crayon, she was displaying her gift, and the walls have since been painted over with lay testament to that. She was just gifted. Very loving and very trusting in that India, although she was cognizant, she was a deep thinker. Again, I said she was introspective, a deep thinker and highly spiritual. So she practiced and believed on inclusivity, and not ostracizing one for how whatever station they may have found themselves in life, whatever they encountered on their journey. India was she just embraced people, and with her temperament, unlike myself, I'm a firebrand. I'm got a lot of caliente in me, but India was very contained and very patient. So oftentimes you would not know she was in the room unless you actually turned around and saw her. She never needed to be the center of attention. If anything, she was always wanting to be her soft, gentle approach. That was consistent. She never spoke above a certain decibel. She spoke like this way I'm talking now. And one of her favorite phrases were, "Have you considered, Mom? Have you considered?" It was like that. And it came across in her music. She exuded a warmth and a love where she was never, and I use the word never, and I could say this of India, never type that was confrontational in any way, form, or fashion. She just, from a little girl, never even required to be spanked. I never spanked her. There was no need. She was just very highly intelligent and very articulate, shimmering soul. And her middle name was Jasmine. She, tell you some other things about India. Her favorite color was red. So you'll see oftentimes if there's a photo, I'm wearing red. And she taught me a lot about spiritual vibrations and energy. She just, was a naturalist and approached holistic in her diet. So she was nursing. This is another thing that was very, very insulting of the police, is that after they orphaned Roman, they had the audacity to say that the police went to a Walmart and got bottles and diapers.
Wow.
For my grandson. India was nursing 100%. She nursed the boys, and and this is another thing. They can't find anything on her. They don't ever humanize her. She was not doing drugs or anything. This is why what they done to her.
Wow.
Pardon me for a moment.
It's okay.
No, it's okay.
Take your time. Take your time.
Is that they exercised no restraint for her. It's very clear. India, even in her music and her compositions, I don't have her sketchbook. I know that she kept them in her car. I have nothing of my daughter. They released nothing.
Nothing.
And we had these two beautiful little boys. Roman, and we have Evan, and Evan is, he's and I was helping India with this prior to her being murdered, but he does display characteristics on the autism spectrum. So I was helping her with him, and
it's okay. Just take your time.
You want us to take a little break, Miss Best?
Because we can.
Is this Jerroll still with us?
You want us
Yes,
to? You want
I
us?
am, Gina.
You want us to go to a little break? You want us to go? You want us to go to a little break, Miss Best? Because we can. We can go to a commercial break if you need a few moments.
Jerroll, I want to say something.
Gina, let me say that something is very important. I'll say this while Gina is collecting, her feelings. We have been working, and Gina's very committed to this. Committed to what we've drafted as the Uniform Reporting Law Enforcement Improvement Act. We must strip law enforcement of unbridled power.
Absolutely.
This evening, I received a call of someone wanting me to travel to a different area of the country for tomorrow to stand with them as they received a decision on a young man who was shot in the back of his head by law enforcement agents. He was unarmed. And I don't know all of the specifics, but I did get the call sharing that much. Every day throughout this nation, our children, our family members are being gunned down in the street, and there has to be a solution.
They are.
And
Yeah.
I am from right outside of Ferguson. So I watched the entire Michael Brown incident, I should say, a day or so after the killing unfold. I watched what happened to the memorial that was repeatedly put up by the community. There's an attempt to always sanitize the remnant of these killings. And so there's the cover-up. I mean, there's a playbook literally that exists for law enforcement agents, and there are manuals, I've read them, that actually, as part of their training, they're taught what they need to say in order to escape responsibility for their actions. So the legislation that we've written, it calls for a national pattern of practice data bank. It is preemptive, it is preventative, and it is very comprehensive. And I'm willing to talk about that whenever you are open to learning about that legislation. Now, I would encourage everyone, all of your listeners, go to our website, because we have a detailed, narrated PowerPoint presentation that outlines the legislation that in short form we call your LEA. If you go to www.changeisonus.org, that's www.changeisonus.org, you will see right on the home page the PowerPoint reference to the PowerPoint presentation. And a more lengthy version, we encourage you to listen to that legislation, because everyone who has basically listened to the presentation, reviewed the legislation, says that it is the solution we have been waiting for.
Yes. And why I asked Jerroll to mention that is because if this were in place now, I wouldn't be going through this extended suffering. I suffer every day. I have nothing. Those 4 officers, the 4 SWAT officers who fired upon India, mind you, it was 4 that fired. But they got out of that van. They exited that van in what's called a stack. They had full battalion gear on, rifles drawn, and helmets.
Wow.
And as Jerroll said, they threw the flashbang grenade. She's already mentioned this is a disorienting device, so one cannot hear. It disturbs the fluid in the cochlea of the ear. You can't hear, nor can you see. India was totally innocent. They did this fully aware of all of the occupants in the car. So that tells you the depravity, the tactics that they use are morally, yes, against a woman and a baby. That's morally repugnant.
They don't
Who
care.
does that?
A barbarian, an animal, and unfortunately that's what they carry themselves like, and the protocol of how they deal with civilians is ridiculous. It's like a murder rampage.
Yes.
I wouldn't even know what else to call it.
The rampage killer. And again, these are people who we're dealing with an entrenched system down there, which is why I'm calling for the Department of Justice and FBI to conduct a parallel independent investigation. Because the Commonwealth Attorney himself, his name is Colin Stolle, of which we went to meet with him. He had representatives come out in lieu of. But he is the brother of the current head of the Virginia Beach Police Sheriff's Department. Now, it's not the Sheriff's Department that killed my daughter. It was the Virginia Beach Police. However, Ken Stolle, the current Virginia Beach Police Sheriff, is Colin Stolle's brother. To further that, Ken Stolle's son is currently on and serves on the Virginia Beach Police Department. To take this another step even further, because it's clearly the familial and the political ties, Ken Stolle himself works in concert, hand in hand, right there in tandem with Colin Stolle, his brother, and Jim Severa, who is the current Virginia Beach Police Chief of Police. Ken Stolle himself was also a former Virginia Beach Police Chief. Last but certainly pertinent is that the brother, there's Ken, Colin, Chris, and Chris is the representative for the the Commonwealth of Virginia. So what are we dealing with? How is it that because of this incestuous relationship, how is it that India, they're going to have a fair and impartial investigation into her homicide?
Not going to happen.
Is that even, that boggles the mind that they haven't even taken it upon themselves to request a parallel independent investigation, because I am almost certain they're posturing and preparing to somehow exonerate those police officers.
Of course. Have they
Somehow.
have they given you a time frame of when they plan on releasing this videotape? Have they given you any type of time frame whatsoever?
I asked to see the unedited and unenhanced version. We have reached out to an expert who says that to even enhance the video should take max 3 days, 2 or 3 days max. It's been almost 6 months. And to answer the question, they said that they should be wrapping up their investigation within 30 days. It shouldn't even take an additional, as far as I'm concerned. We should have had this a long while ago. Her autopsy report has been finished. We know that. Toxicology has been finished. We know that. What is the delay? The 4 officers that fired on my daughter are not on administrative leave. They are still paid and still working.
And you have no idea who these officers are, right? You don't even know who they are, right?
We do not have any. No, we don't. No idea. Nothing has been. Anything that you see on social media or out there is me grabbing out of desperation screenshots, screen grabs, and then annotating and putting arrows where I've circled where the 7-Eleven video was, where how the cars, the unmarked vehicles, the truck and the van, how the doors were still open. There's even one, unfortunately, of my daughter's body because they had, as they said, a medic on duty that was part of the special weapons and tactics team. I keep saying that because that's key. This is a SWAT team. And my daughter they said that they tried to do life-saving procedures on her and Mr. Perry. This is after they've orphaned Roman and after they've executed her. How ludicrous is that? My daughter's body lay on that pavement overnight. We did not get a call from Virginia Beach or even notification of her being killed until after the crime scene was cleaned up. I didn't get a return phone call from Virginia Beach Police. I kept calling, letting them know I'm her mother. I need to find out what happened until 3 days later, right before the first press conference. Right before the first press conference, that's when they called me. And by then, my 4-month-old grandson was in child protective custody, away from family.
Wow.
After they murdered my daughter, or for my grandson.
I
cannot even begin to tell you every single day, and several times throughout the day. I cannot even suppress the tears. When I think I've cried, when my tear ducts are dry, and there's still, it's an endless ocean of tears. I never want another mother to go through this, another loved one, not another mother, because they're gunning us down, and they're to fire upon an innocent woman, knowing the baby's in the car. There's a cluster of bullets where India was sitting, and there were windshields, and then there's a space, and then there's a second cluster of bullets where Mr. Perry was sitting. That's not an accident. Those are with high-powered rifles.
And we have to bring it in. I'm sorry, Gina.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Go ahead, Miss Sanders. You want to say something?
The last thing my daughter ever saw or heard were rifle shots just taking her life from this realm. They had no right to do this. They had no right. They had no justification to do this. What kind of person or animal does this? So,
well,
I want to.
Well, let me say this, Miss Best and Miss Sanders, we have a platform, and I mean, at any time, if you need us to get a message out, if you want to come to this station, if you want to get in contact with me, I mean, you have our information, you have my email address, you have our Twitter information, you have whatever you need. We're at your disposal at any time. Just get in contact with us. If, like I said, if you want to come to the station, if you want to get on and get a message out, please get in contact with us, get in contact with the station. Let us know. We're here for you. I've been following you. I've been following India's story. And, I mean, something's got to be done about this. And any way that we can help out, any voice we can lend to it, anything you need us to do, just let us know, and we're there for you. I need you to know that.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, because what is happening, you can see this, Virginia's a commonwealth. They're doing everything they can. Ms. Sanders has already mentioned that they've even trying to pass a law now where police officers who are involved in shootings
can hide.
Have to reveal their names.
Can hide. They can kill someone and then ultimately hide after the killing.
Where's the transparency? And that's why we need your Leah. And that's why I'm an advocate. I will keep speaking about your Leah and keep fighting for my baby. Keep fighting for India. India was so sweet. I mean, she walked slowly, very deliberately, just so patient. She was always that way until the day they killed my baby.
And she served this country too, right? She was a Navy veteran as well, right?
Yes, and a survivor in many ways. She was a survivor as well. She's gone through so much, and only to have her life she didn't even get to celebrate. You know, Roman's coming, he'll be 1 year old May 11th. Evan hasn't even gone to kindergarten yet. This is so much that they took from her, and they're with their families. See, the question I want everyone to think about is they cannot claim they feared for their lives. They cannot claim that there was an exigent or emergency situation. Why is that? Because Mr. Perry and my daughter was sitting in her parked car. They also time-stamped this by saying 30 minutes. I believe it was much longer. I believe definitely it was more than 30 bullets. Remember who was trying to control the narrative. That's the Virginia Beach Police. On 2 press conferences, they made it a point to talk about everything that Mr. Perry had done and mute and pivot away from what they did to India. And shooting into a car, throwing a flashbang grenade with an innocent woman. What does one call that? What do you call that?
Savagery.
It's not accidental.
Savagery.
Deliberate, premeditated, planned out, specific, completely organized. This was no accident. And for them, as you say, are hiding. And the police chief to listen to the statements they're making, and we're 6 months upon here, almost 6 months, and I have nothing. I have my daughter. I have nothing.
Nothing. So they haven't released any of her property, any of her effects, any of her anything. Nothing.
I have nothing. They released my daughter's body to us, and we were to bury her. I have nothing.
And for the past 5 or 6 months, they've just been circling the wagons. Circling the wagons.
Nothing, sir. Nothing. I don't have nothing of India's. I would like to have her ring. She wore an ankh necklace. She had that on for years. I don't have any of those things that belong to my daughter. I don't have her tablet, as I mentioned, her sketchbook. I don't even have Roman's baby bag. And they can make nothing.
And what is their reason for holding all of that? Have they given you a reason for holding her effects?
They're pending investigation. But remember, India committed no crime.
Exactly.
India didn't even have so much. She was always a very cautious driver. She didn't get her license until she was in her 20s. I've driven her vehicle. She died. She didn't die. She was murdered in the very car that her grandfather gave her. Mr. Kager gave India that car. I have a picture of India as a little girl in that car. That was an old 1991 Cadillac. Had acceleration issues. So even when the police chief tried to say she was driving evasively and erratically, what does that mean? How do you drive evasively and erratically in a coupe? If that's the case, then pull over and make a traffic stop. They didn't even do that. Do you hear what I'm saying? You can hear their lies. You can hear the pivot. You can hear all of that. I refuse to be silent. I got on social media because they were ignoring my baby. They just wanted me to go away. I wanted her to go away. Her story to be buried.
Well, we're going to do everything. We're going to do everything we can here to make sure that that does not happen. I mean, I don't know what they plan on doing, but I know what we plan on doing, and we're with you, Miss Bess, and we're gonna make sure that they know India's name. We're gonna make sure of that. We're going to make sure of it. Absolutely, we're going to make sure of that. You have our word on that. You have our, and I say again, if you ever need us for anything, our platform, you need airtime, you need whatever you need, you come to us, you got it, okay?
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. No, I was saying that if you needed anything from us, our platform, our network, if you need anything from the Prophet of Thought series, you just let us know. And we are here for you. Whatever it is that you need, we're here for you.
I appreciate that because we have to get the word out. I need to continue to amplify what they've done to India. The police presence was so thick and intimidating. The people down in Virginia Beach need help. We heard some horrific stories, and I just won't go away. And to prevent this from happening again, we need legislation, and we need it now. We need it now. Because for them to even be introducing this new bill to cover their names, if your Leah was already enacted, they would not have a way to do that. I wouldn't be having to wait on my daughter's autopsy report and all of the things that have already been completed. We would not be. They would not have the chain of custody of all the evidence. There would be an automatic independent investigation. An automatic. So their level of intentionality here cannot be disregarded. This was intentional. And my role, I'm trying to do everything I can to combat their, and I keep saying this, their presumption of legitimacy in their actions. What was legitimate about anything that they did? Following an innocent woman, stalking her car in less than 3 hours of her arriving in Virginia Beach. Thank God she left Evan here at home with us. We don't know what would have happened. But I will tell you this, I am convinced they saw Roman in the car. I'm convinced that they snuffed out my daughter's life so she could not say or tell what they did to Mr. Perry. I'm convinced of it. And nothing is going to make me change from that position and standpoint because they cannot answer to why they did this.
Yep, and they always make sure that people are dead so they can be the one telling their story. You know?
Exactly. Absolutely.
They always make sure they're dead.
There's only one story.
Yep. They always make sure they're dead.
Only one story.
Always.
Only one. So we would definitely want Ms. Jerroll to come back and really provide in detail your Leah. We need this passed. We need the audience to know that there is a solution out there. Because to be a mother and have your pillow saturated, I've lost so much weight. I think I'm up to 23 pounds now. And I'm not... Every day is a struggle. I mean, I have to marshal emotional, mental in it just to keep fighting, but I can't not fight. I cannot not fight. I mean, just too many... They're going to keep doing this and gunning our babies down.
Yes, it's a problem, and unfortunately, the Department of Justice. I'm really disappointed in Loretta Lynch. I talk about Loretta Lynch a lot. I think her appointment to being the Attorney General was historic, but I've been very disappointed in her. I don't like the way she's handled these many cases of this police misconduct and murder. And I think we need to call her to task on India's case and others like India's case. I'm not impressed with her at all at how she handles these matters. I mean, you're talking about the top law enforcement official in the country, and she has been relatively silent on these cases. Silent. And I don't understand it. It's beyond my understanding. I mean, I don't know if she has some political apprehensions about these cases, or she just think they're not important. Whatever the case may be, she's someone else that we need to call to task on these cases. We need to do it, people. I mean, because she's a black woman, okay? I mean, these people who are being murdered by the police could be her daughter, her son, her sister, her brother. Yes. So, absolutely. I mean, she's not doing what she's supposed to do, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but cases like India...
You are not wrong. You are not wrong. In fact, I don't know if you're aware, but she has even opposed mandatory reporting by local law enforcement agents of the people that they killed. She called that the minutia of record keeping. So she does not believe that the federal government even should mandate that law enforcement agents report the number of people that they kill.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's very concerning.
It's a freedom from mass murder.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And this is the person... This is the person they're talking about maybe appointing to the Supreme Court. I think that would be the biggest mistake in the world. It's the biggest mistake in the world. I'll actually be a little happy when Obama's out, because that means her ass will be out too. Because she has let so many people down, case after case after case. You don't know how many times I have got in this booth and talked about these cases and talked about people who have been killed by the police indiscriminately, and how this lady, the top law enforcement official in the United States, has done nothing. She has said nothing. She has made no moves. I mean, she'll get on TV and talk about investigating pattern and practices after she's seen a video of someone being systematically murdered. It's like... this lady's awful. She's awful, and we need to apply pressure to her, and we definitely need to make sure that she don't get appointed to the Supreme Court, because that would be...
She's awful, and everybody else that is in charge of the law enforcement or on the law enforcement, or... however, they really all need their ass kicked. This is something...
Kicked right out of office.
To go about our anger and our disappointment and the way they handle things. They want us to go about it very calmly and you know, in a way where it's being, we're doing it in a way where we're going about, you know, the laws and going about everything. This woman did everything that she could for her daughter's memory. You understand? They're not respecting anything. You mean to tell me that she does not even have one belonging of her daughters besides her grandchildren? Who the hell are they? And why do we sit as a people and allow this to happen? That's why they're continuing to kill our children, because you understand, we're not angry enough. We're trying to go about things how they want us to, and they don't give a damn, because you know what? They're not even following their own rules. They're not even following their own protocol. And it's very unfair. It's not right for anybody to be or feel sorrowful for the loss or murder unjustifiably of their loved one, especially a mother. My heart goes out to you in so many ways that I cannot even imagine. I can't even get words together, which is very, very easy for me to do. I can't even formulate my sentences properly, because this is ridiculous. It's crazy. It's like we have to come together in a way where it's powerful and it's heard and the message is there. You understand? Everybody is scattered as far as all the different killings and murderings going on within this country. If there was ever a way that we could come together to combat it and let them know that we're not playing, what if we told them for every one of that you kill and murder of our children, we take 2 of y'all out? You think that they would like that? What if it was really like that? You understand me? It's not fair. They don't care. They don't care. They don't give a damn. Even when we're following their protocols or how to go about getting justice, there is no justice in this system. If it is, we have not found a link to it. We have not connected in any way to a solution that they're trying to give us. They don't want us to get angry. They think we're supposed to sit by and let them murder our children and our family members and not get angry and not fight. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Well, they have.
It's beyond upsetting, and my heart goes out to you, sis. I swear, it really does.
They have gotten used to a culture of justification and acceptance, and by justification and acceptance, they feel that if they come up with the narrative of justification for killing someone, that we are supposed to enact some degree of acceptance. They think that they can just come out and say, oh, they were doing their job, and we're not supposed to care that our son, that our daughter, that our mother, that our father, that our sister or brother is now in the ground. We're not supposed to be upset. We're just supposed to say, okay, fine, the police was doing their job, and that's that. But see, the caveat to that is that 9 times out of 10, okay, when they systematically murder someone, and it's always 10 shots, 20 shots, 30 shots, 40 shots, 50 shots. It's not like they shot someone. It's never they shot someone one time. No, it's always a hail of gunfire, so they can make sure that whoever they unleash on, they make sure that they're dead. Okay, they make sure that they're dead. It's not like they fire a warning shot or try to wound someone or shoot them in the leg or shoot them in the arm. No. This person must be shot 20, 30, 40, 50 times. Okay? Because see, now this person is dead. And now they can gather around in a huddle over their body and get their story together. Okay, then get in contact with who's ever in charge of talking to the press and tell them, well, this was justified because of A, B, and C. Now, in this case, with India's case, India was totally innocent. She didn't even have a criminal record.
Nothing.
She didn't even have a criminal record. So, what is the damn justification for this woman being killed? What is the justification? What is it? None is there. And that's why nothing has been told to Mrs. Best, because there's nothing they could possibly tell her that would make any damn sense. There's nothing they can tell her. What are they going to say? What could they possibly say? Okay? What could they possibly say to this woman to justify killing her daughter? Because usually they throw out he had weed in his system. Oh, he had a criminal record. Oh, she did this. She lunged at us. She shot at us. She had a knife. She had a pencil. She had a toothpick. Nothing. None of that would apply. That is why nothing has been told, because they are going to sit on this, continue to spin this story as far as they can spin it until finally, okay, and I do believe that you're going to receive some justice from this. I mean, it is written, Miss Bess, that you will receive some justice from this. But unfortunately, ma'am, and I'm sorry to say this justice will not come for you, until they are done spinning it. Once they have spent it all the way till they've spent it, then mysteriously and magically, someone will be under arrest. Unfortunately, that's how it's going to play out. You will receive some justice. I truly believe that. But you won't receive any justice until they are done circling their wagons. And that's the unfortunate truth.
Well, I'm hoping, and I said this the other day, justice in this instance, justice would have been my daughter never being shot in the first place.
Exactly.
Her life in the first place. I've been turning this over in my heart, in my mind, thinking of what to do. Out speaking, sharing her story, amplifying India, of course, caring, her beautiful baby, Mr. Evan, who is awakened now. So I got to be very aware of what I'm saying in front of him. Okay, but it was suggested that I need to call the governor, get everybody to just start bombarding the area legislators, just bombarding their phone. Continuing to sign the petition, but I need to get audience with that governor. So if they do not pass that law, because again, it is precipitated by what happened to India. And I go through periods throughout the day. Tears, no tears, or at least there's an undercurrent. More tears, and then I wake up in the middle of the night, woke up in the other night completely, I think I was screaming, and I awakened myself. My grandson wasn't with me, and I'm going to tell you, it's a constant nightmare. It's a constant nightmare. I am not the mother to say I forgive. I don't forgive them. Let me make that perfectly clear.
That's right.
I'm not in a place of forgiveness. The day they can resurrect my daughter, then we could talk forgiveness.
That's right.
Let me make that clear. I refuse to be lulled into a state of docility where I can just say kumbaya and everything's all right, because it's not all right, and it will never be all right.
Nope.
When it comes to India. And her little boys, who no longer have their mother, they forever have altered Evan and Roman's lives. Other children can grow up and knowing they've got mom. I mean, whatever the family dynamic is, but my grandbabies will never have that.
Exactly.
They had no right. We talk about birthdays. Many monumental first, the two little baby boys. We talk about the fathers being absent, but they had their mothers stolen from them.
For nothing. For nothing.
The ripple effect. The multi-generational trauma that this is called. Multi-generational trauma.
So let me ask you this, Miss Bess. What do you need us to do? What do you need Nubia Hood Radio to do in the Proper Thought series to do? What do you need from us?
There's very specific things. I know people say your prayer, my thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers don't feed me or my grandchildren. I have not worked for almost 6 months. My work is very cerebral, and I'm trying to get back into a place where I can think and focus.
Okay.
I of course, suffice. My career was 100% commission. So I haven't brought in anything since the day my daughter was murdered. I just try to put yourself in my shoes for a moment. I'm not the type of person to exploit this situation. This was my child, my daughter. But this has permeated and impacted every area of our lives. I have not been able to work. And I'm a proud person in the sense that as a professional, I never even want to be in a position where I'm begging or anything, but I do need help. I do need help financially.
Okay.
I need people to just, even if they just did $5, everybody who's reading, if they just sent $5 to the page that was set up by folks who love me and love India, they see the need for
Do you have a GoFundMe page? Do you have a GoFundMe?
I don't have a GoFundMe page, but there is a generosity.com, or what's called Indiegogo, but under generosity.com. That it's a long URL. I don't even know how to begin to state that.
If you go to our website, www.changeisonus.org. On that page, you will see a story that says they're killing our daughters. And there's a blurb, a paragraph or so on India, and the link to that Indiegogo page is right there on the front page of our website, which again is www.changeisonus.org.
Okay.
And
Now, for
That
everybody,
will help us tremendously.
for everybody who's listening, you need to go to this site. Okay, it's www.changesonus.org. We need to help Miss Best out, y'all. All right. If y'all have any respect for me and any respect for this station and any respect for this network, we need to help Miss Best out. She needs our help. So you need to get up on there.
I really appreciate it because I'm doing everything I can. It's enough to even. It's just you never expect. It's one thing to die. You know, you lose a loved one through an accident or through some health issue, or the elderly, maybe natural causes. We're all going to leave here one day. But I would have never thought that I'd have to go pick out a casket for my daughter. And I had to pick her casket out. I would have never thought that this beautiful little girl, this quiet little girl, sitting at the piano, she taught herself songs from 4 years old. She's sitting there. And she played guitar, she played violin, she played the flute and the piano. And so many, she just taught, she was such a beautiful person. Never wanted to be the center of attention. And now, just to have to fight, I would, if, as long as there's breath in my body, as God is my witness, I'll fight for my baby. Okay. Because what they're doing, and making a spectacle, I try not to, like I said, and I was walking around the house, and the very first video ever that I've ever uploaded or ever in my life, I put on Facebook, and it went viral. It just traveled so rapidly. And then I'm going to say this, I don't even know if I was embarrassed, but I felt some kind of way about letting people see what I go through every day. But I got to tell you this. People need to see this. They need to know. They need to know. Because I'm never going to escape this. And that's why I make it, and I state emphatically, I don't forgive. Now, I'm not consumed by that. I don't know where we even got this, where I'm supposed to turn the other cheek. When I'm reminded that my people, as soon as you turn the other cheek, there was a slave owner waiting to brand you with that firebrand, okay? Now, I really want to speak to what is obvious, is that if the situation were reversed, would those police would there be a different outcome? Would there have been a different outcome if there were two non-African American people in the car?
Absolutely, it would have been. Absolutely, have been. They would have approached the situation totally different. They don't care. They don't care. If you're black, they don't care. They're to the point now where they don't care if you're man, woman, child, elderly. They do not care. They do not care. They do not care. They have no problem killing you. You know,
that's exactly what happened.
They have no problem murdering you.
It's indisputable.
None whatsoever.
It's indisputable. Yes. What did your young friend just say? I heard her say something.
Teacher Tanisha?
There was someone else who said something just now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was me. That was Teacher Tanisha.
Yeah, that's my New York City correspondent on the line.
Yeah, we talked earlier. Of course, it wouldn't have been a different outlook or a different situation had the people been other than African American or black or whatever they want to call us nowadays. If anybody's really paying attention, this is a war going on, whether you're aware of it or not. This is a war, and unfortunately, we have to put our minds in a type of thought process where we have to fight. We have to fight legally. We have to fight emotionally. We have to just fight in every way possible that we can, because they don't care. They will kill us, and we have to be aware of that they are killing us. It's not, your daughter didn't even do anything.
Nothing.
She absolutely nothing. And they killed her, and they're killing many others, and have killed many others, and plan to, let me not even say kill, murder, because that's what it is. They don't care. And I think us, as a people, need to arm ourselves educationally, as far as their law goes. I think we also need to arm ourselves physically, because push come to shove, we have to defend ourselves in all ways possible. You understand? We have to fight in all ways possible. We have to be ready, rather, to fight and prepared to fight in all ways possible.
Well, I just want to let you know, Mrs. Best, that station management is sharing your information right now on our sites and on our Facebook pages, and it's been shared to Babbly, so we're getting the word out as we speak right now.
Thank you.
We're doing that right. Station management is on it right now as we speak.
I appreciate it. And I got to say, it's been a really long day. I'm exhausted. Okay. And Evan is now moving about, my grandson.
Okay.
And it really unsettles him when
God bless you, too.
Oh, yes. He gets unsettled when he sees me cry, and he just came over and asked me what my feelings hurt.
Okay.
And
I want to say this again, Miss Bess. If you need
thank
us,
you. And he bought me his toy. He's trying to share. He wants me to stop.
If you need us for anything, get in contact with us, okay?
Baby. I will.
Okay.
And
thank you.
Like to come back and
Oh, absolutely. Whenever you want to come back, just get in contact with me. You have all my information. You have my email address. Okay. You can get in contact with me through Twitter. Whenever you need Xavier, you just let me know. Okay.
Thank you. Because
All right.
we definitely want to talk about how to prevent this. There's a solution.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I put my direct line into your I sent you my direct line through Twitter, so you can call my direct line as well, okay?
Yes.
And,
all right, thank you.
We appreciate your time. You too, Miss Sanders. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That was riveting, people. Very, very riveting. For all my listeners out there that listen to me every week, y'all need to go ahead and go to changeisonus.org. Donate to Miss Best. I mean, she's going through a tough time right now. Her daughter was systematically murdered. And she was innocent, y'all. She wasn't doing nothing. She wasn't committing no crime. She didn't have no criminal record. This girl was a Navy veteran. She was an artist. She had just had a baby. She wasn't doing nothing. She was just there. Just there, y'all. That's it. She was just there. And now she's dead. A hail of bullets, as usual. It's always 20, 30, 40, 50 bullets. And we got to stop this shit. We got to stop this shit from happening to us. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this tonight is because usually we talk about the men who have been killed. And we don't realize that sometimes, man, they're killing our women too. They're killing our women too. It's not just the men, it's the women too. It is. And like I said, y'all need to get on up there. Get on generosity.com. Y'all need to get on changeisonus.org and, help Miss Bess out. Because, she still, it's been like 5-6 months and she's still suffering. She says she hasn't worked, or nothing. She's got India's babies that she got to take care of, and we need to help her out. I don't know if it's $5, $10, $2, whatever you got. We need to help the lady out because she's one of us, and she's going through it. And this is time for us to show that we can stick together on something that matters instead of some old nonsense. We need to show that we can stick together on something that matters, y'all. Now, this is a defining moment for everybody out there who's listening to me and everybody who listens to me every week. This is a defining moment for y'all. Okay? This is a defining moment for us. Because the reason why I want to have this lady on, because when I heard her story and I heard her cries, I had to talk about this. I had to have this lady on my show. I had to. Because this shit was wrong. This shit was wrong. And anybody who don't understand that doesn't understand anything. We can always sit around and gather and group and coalesce around nonsense. We need to coalesce around Miss Bess right now. We need to. All right? We need to do that. I'm just saying. Now, Before Miss Bess and Miss Sanders call, I was in the middle of reading off some names because I said I was going to say everybody's name. We done already talked about India, so I'm going to go on through my list, and then we're going to go on to Xavier's Inexcusable Extras. Now, we left off with Chantel Davis. Chantel Davis was killed June 14, 2012. She was 23, New York City. She was fatally shot while driving a stolen car, they claim. Plainclothes NYPD officers approached her after she had ran multiple lights, they say. When she tried to escape, Officer Phil Atkins, a narcotics officer, allegedly tried to shift her car into park as it was moving. His gun fired once, he said, striking her in the chest, killing her. Now, they claim Miss Chantel Davis had been arrested 8 times previously and was due in court the day after her death for kidnapping and attempted murder charges. Now, she had kidnapping and attempted murder charges, but she was out on the street stealing cars? Would that make any damn sense? But you know, this is NYPD we talking about. And y'all know, those who follow the Proper the Thought series, you know, to me, NYPD stands for numerous young people dead. Next case, I know y'all done heard of this. Rekia Boyd. She died March 22, 2012. She was 22. In Chicago, of course, the notorious Chicago. And Miss Boyd, of course, was unarmed when she was shot in the back of her head by a Chicago police detective, Dante Servant, who happened to be off duty at the time. He was driving near his home late at night, and he saw a group of 4 people walking outside. He had a brief conversation with them through his window. Then he turned the wrong way on a one-way street. He said he then looked over his shoulder and thought he saw a man from the group pull a gun from his pants and point at him. He fired 5 rounds over his left shoulder through his car window, striking the man in the hand and striking Rekia Boyd in the back of the head. Boyd was taken to the hospital and died the next day. Now, Servant was indicted on charges of manslaughter, reckless discharge of a firearm, and reckless misconduct. He's been stripped of his police powers, thank God, and the city awarded the Boyd family $4.5 million. He is still awaiting trial. Next case, Sharice Francis died March 15, 2012. She was 29, killed by numerous young people dead in New York City. Now, Miss Sharice Francis was killed after her family members called the police seeking help because Francis, who had schizophrenia, had not been taking her medication and seemed like she needed medical attention. She refused to go to the hospital. She was unarmed. She was not aware that arriving NYPD officers were police because of her mental illness. When she tried to leave the room against their orders, they allegedly pursued her, grabbed her, tackled her onto a bed. The 4 officers put their weight onto Francis's back while trying to cuff her, and she was tased. She was pronounced dead at the hospital shortly after the incident. Her cause of death was compression of trunk during agitated, violent behavior. The lawsuit that her family has filed said that the officers overwhelmingly violated NYPD's policies on mental illness, in part because the department has failed to provide training. They have since settled with the Francis family for $1.1 million. Now, we're going to talk about a story that's close to my heart. Miss Ayala Stanley Jones. Ayanna Stanley Jones died May 16, 2010. She was 7, y'all, in Detroit. Ayanna Stanley was sleeping on her couch in her grandmother's house, and the police busted in the house on a no-knock warrant and Officer Joseph Weckley ran through the door. After a flashbang grenade went off, he fired his gun, killing Ayanna instantly. He testified, because he was indicted, and he testified that the grandmother struck his weapon and caused him to fire. Police said that the raid was in search of a murder suspect who just happened to live in another house. So they was in the wrong damn place. They wasn't even supposed to be there. They wasn't even supposed to be there. Now, Officer Weekly, who killed little Ayanna Stanley, 7 years old, sleeping, he was charged with involuntary manslaughter. But guess what? The damn case was dismissed after a mistrial. Ain't that something? Next case. Tarika Wilson died January 4th, 2008. She was 26 in Ohio, which is becoming ever more notorious for killing people. Tarika Wilson was killed when a Lima police SWAT team raided her rental home to arrest her boyfriend on a drug charge. According to the New York Times, she had her youngest son in her arms when she was shot by Sergeant Joseph Chevalier. Sincere, who was 14 months old, was also shot in the shoulder and hand but survived. Chevalier was acquitted of the charges against him of negligent homicide, of course. He testified that he felt like his life was in danger from this little girl and her damn baby. Thinking, he said he saw a shadow and heard gunshots nearby.
Really?
When they actually were none. They settled with this family for $2.5 million. Then we have Katherine Johnston, y'all. This one's going to really get y'all. Katherine Johnston died November 21st, 2006 in Atlanta. She was 92 years old. Katherine Johnson, when she was killed in a botched no-knock drug raid by Atlanta police, that was revealed that to be based on false information. Officers broke her security gate down without warning and crashed into her house. As the door opened, Johnson fired the pistol she kept for self-defense, hitting no one. Officers fired back at a 92-year-old woman 39 times. 5 or 6 bullets hit Mrs. Johnston, and several others hit fellow police. They're idiots. Officers later admitted to falsely claiming cocaine submitted into evidence had come from a drug deal at the 92-year-old woman's house, and planting marijuana at her house after the killing.
Really?
Officer Jason Smith, Greg Junior, and Arthur Tesler pleaded guilty to charges related to her death and the cover-up. All 3 of those sons of bitches are in prison. Thank God. Next case, Alberta Spruill died May 16, 2003. She was 57, killed by numerous young people dead in New York City. Alberta Spruill died after police conducted another damn no-knock fucking warrant. Another one. Raid at her house, and it was in error. Officers broke through the door, threw a concussion grenade, while Spruill, who worked for the city, was getting ready for work. She was briefly handcuffed but released when officers realized they were in the wrong damn house. And that the information they were given, that the guns and drugs were being stored in the apartment, was wrong. Spruill had a heart attack. She had a heart attack at a nearby hospital. The city settled that case for $1.6 million. She didn't even get shot. Just the shock of them busting in her house with the damn grenade gave the woman a heart attack and she died. And you know what they said? This case, for them, is not about money. It's about changing procedure. Next case, Kendra James died May 5, 2003. She was 21 in Portland, Oregon. Portland officer Scott McAllister shot Kendra Jones during a traffic stop. When McAllister pulled over James and driver Terry Jackson, he took Jackson into custody after seeing he had an outstanding warrant. James moved behind the wheel of the car and tried to drive away. Officer McAllister tried to stop her by clambering partially into the car and pulling her hair and using pepper spray and a taser. James put the car into drive and McAllister shot her, claiming he was struck in the doorway and feared for his life. A grand jury declined to prosecute. No surprise there. The officer was initially suspended, but the disciplinary action was overturned by an arbitrator. The family says it's been 10 years and justice has still not been served. Now, we're going to talk about one more case. And this is the case of Janisha Fonville. Janisha Fonville was killed here, right here in Charlotte, where we broadcast from, y'all. And Janisha Fonville, they had gotten a call, domestic violence dispute, and the cops got there, and they claimed that she lunged at them with a knife. Now, mind you, was 6 cops there, okay? Janisha Fonville was, I believe, 5'1", and she weighed about 110 pounds. My damn arm weighs more than that, okay? And they shot her and killed her, dead. Now, the officer who killed her, Andrew Holshouser is his name, from Charlotte Mecklenburg Police. Now, this is really going to get y'all. This man has been involved with 3 shootings already. 2 of them that he was involved in, he killed people before. But somehow, some way, this bastard's still on the force, still able to kill people. And he's still on the force right now because he hasn't been charged. I was going to try to get some of her people on the show tonight in studio, to no avail. But y'all just stay with me. I may get them, on the show at some point in time, because I have actually spoken to Janisha Fonville's father in person. And I know he's got some legal stuff going on right now, so I don't know how apt he is to talk to us. But I'm working on it, y'all. And I just want to say their names tonight, y'all. I want to get their names on the record, and I want to talk about how these damn cops are killing any and everybody. And I tell y'all again, y'all need to hit that site, man. Y'all need to go to changesonus.org, man, and help out Miss Bess. But now it is time for...
And now it is time for Xavier's Inexcusable Extras.
We had a conversation tonight that we've had way too often. Police officers killing our people indiscriminately. Usually it's a black man executed within a hail of bullets. But we have not often spoke of the black women who have been killed as well. Mainly because it's not in the news as much. Not as much coverage. When in itself is a tragic situation just by that alone. As if our sisters' lives are not important. As if their stories should not be told. As you heard tonight, here at the Prophet of Thought series, we disagree with that narrative. Their lives are important. Their stories need to be told to our people. It's cowardly for the police to just shoot first without assessing a situation, or even try to make sure that no life is lost. That I feared for my life, or I was threatened, afraid, endangered. Hardly ever is that narrative true, even when engaging a black man. So you know it's never true when it comes to a female. Let's be realistic. A 200-pound man was so afraid of a 100-pound girl that the only thing he could possibly do was kill her dead in the street. Come on. The lies will always be told in these situations. And only after the truth is unearthed will we be told the truth. And even when the truth is told, officials will continue to hide evidence, hide video footage, just to keep from saying we screwed up. We've almost gotten used to hearing black men being shot dead by the boys in blue. But now their guns are trained on our women, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. So now we know none of our people are safe. Any police interaction can be your last. Why? Because our women look too much like us, y'all. Black like us. Treat you like a lady? Not if you're a black lady. You will be treated just like your black counterparts. Nope. Gender is not an issue when it comes to law enforcement. All black people are more likely to be killed by police than white people. So it's a problem for all of us. This is not just a cop killing black men problem anymore, or a cop killing black women problem anymore. It's a cop killing black people problem. And for us to not include women killed in this conversation is totally inexcusable.
Open your mind.
Well, I want to thank Miss Bess for calling in tonight. Y'all need to go to that site, hit her up. If you don't know what it is, get in contact with me. I'll give you the information. I want to thank Miss Sanders also for calling in tonight. Next week, y'all, we supposed to have Dr. Joe Martin on. He's going to be talking about men being men. I want to thank y'all for listening to me and supporting me. You're listening to the Popular Thought Series on Nubia Hood Radio, the sound of consciousness. I'm Xavier, and for Teacher Tanisha and Lady Self-Made, I'll leave you with 3 words like I always do. Open your minds. We out.
Open your mind.
The prophet of darkness. The prophet of darkness.